And as Anastasia mentioned in her report, a few of the cable networks and major newspapers are starting to pay attention to this. But for the most part, it's not a major story. And even those who are, they seem to be focusing mostly on the arrests and not the reason the protesters are there in the first place.
So I want to take a closer look. Politicians of both parties finally realized that these young people could not be ignored.
We can televise, all of the protests in the Middle East, but we can't. This is happening in our own backyard, and why isn't this on TV?
One of the most illustrative examples is the reaction of the media class to the Occupy movement. Because if you look at how they reacted, at first what they said was, at first they ignored it until they couldn't do it anymore, or until someone at Goldman Sachs called them and said, "Get down there and tell us what's going on."
Check it out for us.
Yeah, and they got their marching orders from their assignment editor at Goldman Sachs. But when they finally did start talking about it, the first thing they were saying was, "We just don't understand what these people are angry about."
But again, what do these people want?
And now we turn to the puzzling, bizarre protests going down on Wall Street and other places.
People took to the streets to express their anger and make sure their message is heard. But what exactly is their message?
What do they want? What do they want? Do they want somebody else to pay their loans off?
Well, yes.
No, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
If there's one, common theme that runs through, the narrative that they're advancing down there is that they hate corporations, they hate capitalism, and in the end, ultimately, they want statism over free markets. So they really don't like freedom, because they'd empower the government to take everybody's money and redistribute it into programs they want, right?
Oh, absolutely. Mob uprisings are always left-wing.
The Occupy Wall Street movement is basically socialistic. It essentially wants the government to control who gets what.
Because these are hardcore communists. They've been trained at ruckus camps ever since they've been drugged up as babies to do this. They're not there to reason with you. They are street radicals. These are the street vermin that brought Hitler to power.
I still believe, in the principles of America and the Constitution and capitalism as well. You win, you lose. Now, when these corporations, these people, when they lose, they should just lose. This is life. It sucks. All right, great, When I lose, nobody comes helps me.
But the thing that strikes me about them, wherever they're interviewed, they are incoherent. They will toss out a few scraps of rhetoric, and they feel that they've said something. But they can't tell you exactly what they want. They can't tell you what they're really complaining about, other than that the world is not built to their specifications.
We aren't going to put up with corporate corruption anymore. We aren't going to put up with corporate money in our politics, corporate money around the world, controlling everything, controlling all of our natural resources, controlling all of our lives.
We've spoken a lot about them. I'm now going to bring in Jesse LaGreca, who is a blogger for the liberal website Daily Kos, and he's been a fixture at the Wall Street protests. So, Jesse, you've been listening to all of these descriptions of your movement. Where do you come down? I mean, we've talked about it as being immature. It hasn't had policy sort of directives. What is it that you are trying to sort of consolidate around there?
I mean, the reality is I'm the only working class person you're going to see on Sunday news, political news, maybe ever. And I think that's very indicative of the failures of our media to report on the news that matter most to working class people.
We are trying our best, Jesse, and I want
to... thank you.
The Occupy Wall Street crowd in Manhattan has been fairly pacific. And it's only beginning to come out that they're anti-Semitic, that the Muslim groups are involved.
And I think Yom Kippur, particularly Kol Nidre service, which is really about debts and about obligations, is a very apt time to be bringing Jewish prayer together with social action, and I feel like it's actually a meaningful event that I want to be a part of.
Yom Kippur! Celebrate Yom Kippur! And in solidarity with the protesters here! In solidarity with the protesters here!
And in addition, more anti-Semitism is surfacing among the occupiers.
And I'll say that the Jews control Wall Street. Google Jewish billionaires. Google Jews in the Federal Reserve Bank. Google Jews and Wall Street.
Now, if you research the source of that last clip, you'll find that it not only comes from the previous week as shown, but it comes from thousands of miles away from Oakland, from some guy on the streets of New York in no way associated with Occupy Oakland, a fact which Bill O'Reilly never pointed out on his so-called no-spin zone.
Fair, balanced.
This is vilification. I mean, absolutely. When you read through this, what they've actually written down on paper is complete and total vilification. There's a song in the front called Money Man, which is maybe a little tongue-in-cheek about what they're going to do to the money man.
Hey, money man, poor money man, you should slip out the back, because the forces of greed are under attack. No bombs or bullets or rocks or guns, just hashtags and poison at the top of our lungs.
For instance, take a look at this group. This is an amazing, whoa, look at that. Wow, see what you have? Nearly all of them are under 30 and white, but some are fat and some are fatter. Some are dirty and some are even dirtier. Still, some you'll see here are skanks and some are even skankier. Wow.
There's groups behind these are professional people. These people we said Jesse Waters out there. These people they just wander around. They're not,
these
not
are
like Vietnam.
but they're jobless. They're jobless.
They're jobless
young
because
people.
they don't want to work. They admitted it to
that's
us.
Not true.
They won't work for the corporate demand.
There is high unemployment among young Americans because this economy is having such trouble, and young people are having a difficult time finding work.
If you have a college degree in this country, unemployment's 4.5%. Okay, Juan? So all of these people, all they have to do is take a shower and they can get a job if they went to college.
When you come in, even at this hour, you can't ignore Occupy Wall Street. Even though it's much quieter at this hour, there's just a maze of fences all around the outside of the exchange. There's security.
Nervous down there. They like when they're holding their martinis, and you know, are they like how nervous are they?
Joe. First of all, it's way too early for martinis.
Are there
I gotta
top
tell
hats
you, even for me, even
and their
for you.
monocles?
Who are you?
Does the ascot askew? Like how nervous are they down there?
What's going on here? Is this just your basic green, anti-capitalist, anti-bank, anti-Wall Street, anti-America demonstration?
If you're anti-capitalism, you kind of are anti-American, aren't you?
These people are the perpetually lazy, spoiled, rotten, 99% white kids who don't have anything else to do.
So there really isn't a uniform theme here. They don't really know what they want.
I think if you put every single left-wing cause into a blender and hit power, this is the sludge you'd get. And it's basically anti-capitalism.
They call each other comrades. They have the support of the Nazi Party and the Communist Party. These people are fringe. They're about to go away as soon as the weather gets cold. They're done.
They want redistribution of wealth. That's what they want. They want socialism in this country.
And that's exactly right, Kimberly. And we need to keep our eye on what's really going on here. The radical leftists always play the long game, okay? And they always keep their eyes on the prize.
It was street communists like these rats who went in the streets, disrupted German society, attacked the police, caused a ruckus, and caused a Nazi party to originate, caused the Nazi party to create the brown shirts, which fought with them in the streets, which is exactly what the communists want. This is a disaster for America. And the faster the police crack down on these dirty vermin in the streets and arrest them, the less chance there will be of a Nazi party arising in the United States of America.
They don't know what they're protesting. They're brainless. They're brainwashed. And yes, there's always a possibility of violence with the mob.
Breaking news, the Occupy Wall Street movement about to enter its 6th week, and it's now a tourist attraction in New York City, but it's the reported growing signs of anti-Semitism that is attracting the attention of others.
To be roundly condemning this for what it is.
the media in this country and liberals like yourself, we're looking for one Tea Party member that had said one dumb thing, one sign. They couldn't find them. We find this every minute of every day at almost every location.
The fringe
might have
on
been,
both
look,
sides.
I will
and
concede
on
there
the
might have been an
messages.
instance or two or three, but
or
you're
4
seeing
or 5.
1,000 here.
So what exactly is everybody complaining about? And is to also give me a sense of how much momentum this movement has, because it looks pretty nothing burger so far. Just a few guys, guitars, nobody knows what they want. They can't even name the names of the firms that they're protesting against. Very weak, low budget.
So I promise you, none of these kids at Occupy Wall Street are coming from places like Yale. They are coming from the most Bush League schools, which is why none of them can even say why.
Harvard Yard would send a pretty powerful statement to Harvard and the country that Harvard students care about the corporatization of Harvard education.
So we sent Factor producer Jesse Waters out to greet them.
The government's doing a lot of things that aren't good.
Did you say something? I will be bare-breasted. My message will be written in Sharpie.
Surely you can't be serious.
I want to replace capitalism with a more just economic model. Haven't New Yorkers suffered enough for Wall Street? Because that's why New York was targeted on 9/11.
We deserve 9/11?
Please don't.
You've got a big mouth, you know?
So what do you want to replace capitalism with?
Don't say it, bro. None of your business. We can win this thing and take Wall Street.
Are you serious? You're going to storm the banks?
We'll see.
Creating jobs, is that a big concern out here?
You are right.
We're talking about like the job-making committee in the government. They all have jobs to do that.
The human mind is often inflamed with strange complexes.
I'd like to see everybody give 2 additional people a hug today.
Let's hug it out.
If a CEO came down here right now and offered you a job, would you take it?
No way.
What?
Cool.
Obama, why don't you be a man and have integrity?
You can act like a man. What's the matter with you?
What don't you agree with?
Wars in Iraq, they probably should have legalized marijuana by now, too.
I'm just really high.
If President Obama came down here, what would you tell him?
If I were him, I would just stand up and say, everyone, this country is screwed up.
The country is screwed up.
Well, at least that portion of it.
Right.
Now for a story that made us say, seriously? The Occupy Wall Street protest entered its 3rd week today. What started as less than a dozen college students camping out in a park near the New York Stock Exchange is now hundreds of protesters, and it's spread to other cities. But what are they protesting? Nobody seems to know. So this afternoon, we went to Wall Street to find out. And despite what you heard, here's what I saw. It's not just a bunch of dancing hippies protesting. There are all kinds of people there. Babies, teachers, cheerleaders, Uncle Sampta, and that. Seriously, it's a mixed bag, but they were happy to take some time from their books, banjos, bongos, sports drinks, catered lunch. Yeah, there was catered lunch. Designer yoga clothing. That's a Lululemon logo. Computers, lots of MacBooks, and phones.